Okay, welcome all of you here. I hope I'm audible, visible. Starting this session in seconds. Most welcome from my side. We'll reduce the contrast so that it shall be all visible. Let's start the session now. Welcome all of you once again in another one. In this session, we'll be discussing RBI Grade B 2023 paper Shift 2. As we discussed Shift 1 yesterday, last week we discussed 2024 Shift 1 and Shift 2. Next week we are going to discuss 2022 Shift 1 and Shift 2 and so on. Stay connected. Doubts and objections heartily welcome from my side. Let's go ahead, everybody here. Just reducing the brightness and we go ahead now. I hope it shall be all visible quite clearly. Yes, it is. Let's go. The first one, just fixing the phone for comments. Have a look, please. I start in 10 seconds. All ready, and extremely sorry for the delay caused. Welcome all who watch live. Nancy, Jajnendra, Prakta, Harish, Sakshi, Harar Mahadev, good afternoon. Manish, Vedansh, thanks a lot. Let's delve into this. The very first one, I'm sure quite clearly visible. Amidst the echo of abstract sense. So you have to consider those options where you can show the echo of abstract senses. Okay. Philosophers lecture lingered amidst the echo of abstract art form, leaving the audience contemplative but slightly disoriented. When you talk about a philosopher, in that case, for sure, we can think about the abstract things because philosophy defines from your mind. There is no concrete form of philosophy. So I think the first one should be okay. Philosopher. The artist's work seemed to emerge amidst the echo of abstraction, combining emotion with the undefined form. Can be called the abstract one. And when you talk about the artist's work, for example, a painting can be the abstract art. So is all correct. Welcome Manish, Shivam, Bubbly, Chetan. Hey, good afternoon. Hey dear. Rishabh, welcome brother. So both seem good to me. What about the third one? The journalist reported the political developments. You can't report the political developments in the abstract art. The next statement showing it further with data, focusing entirely on data. And when you have data, 2016, 14, 18, 20 and such, this is not the abstract art. We have the concrete data available. So abstract art in philosophy, abstract art in the artist's work, just two of these. Picking the first and the second correct. Doubts welcome. Next, under computational latency thresholds. Remember computational latency. Muskan, good afternoon. Radhe Radhe. Welcome. Renu. Okay. The seminar focused on ancient philosophical theories under computational latency. Hold on a sec. How can you focus on ancient philosophy under computational latency threshold? Ancient. We didn't have computers back then, so it doesn't define that particularly. The real-time processing system failed to deliver results under the computational latency thresholds, causing a delay in the AI model's response. Yep, when you talk about AI, you can use computer or computational thresholds or methods and such. Seems good. The third one, Kunjan, good afternoon, hey dear. The research on Hellenistic logic, once again, you're talking about someone's logic. And if you know the meaning of this word, it defines the ancient Greek, not the current one. And when I say the ancient Greek logic was, that too defines things of past, widely appreciated, it was never examined. Hold on a sec. How would I define someone's philosophy in the first one, someone's logic, and that too the ancient logic? Just like religion, culture, through computational latency thresholds. That's a false comparison. We can't examine, we can't even say so. I'm sorry, I couldn't examine Ramayana through computational philosophy. Latency methods, not philosophy even. I couldn't examine Mahabharat under computational, no, false comparison. So just the second one seems good and should be the answer, and is. Divyanshi, good afternoon, beta. The level is pretty up. Chetra, hello, good afternoon. Hey dear. This is for RBI grade B, as those students who are here for me, most welcome. Just have a look. You will realize when we get 1.19 lakhs, let me say 1.19 lakh, the initial salary, what should be the level of examination out there? Most welcome, all of you. If possible, don't leave. There will be something to learn for sure. There will be something to learn for sure. Everybody here. Next. What began as a post-war blank space, grammatically if I say I need a noun here, a post-war something, for sunbathing is rapidly developing into a world health crisis. Okay. It's just like how Americans have a, obviously I need a noun here, with the steroid bodybuilders and breast implants. Okay. Obsessive is 100% correct when it comes to the context. We may have obsession of steroid bodybuilding or anything such, or we have an obsession for sunbathing, but that may result into crisis and such. But I don't need an adjective here. I needed a noun here. So obsessive will be horrible. Obsession could have been the perfect word out there. So this is grammatically wrong, contextually correct. Rare is an adjective. Addict is a verb. Addicted becomes the adjective. Addiction becomes the noun. Addiction could have been a possibility. Addiction for sunbathing. Addiction for, say, steroid bodybuilders and such. When you say complexion, it shows the body color. And for sunbathing, we may say body color, but for steroid bodybuilders and breast implantation, we can't say complexion. Fetish. Addiction, we can say, yep. Fetish absolutely defines that obsession. Noun form has to be correct in both of these. They have also displayed that meaning. I think they are probably saying the same, because that is. A noun will be okay there. Fetish obsession. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rohit, when I read the RC, it will be 2.5x, brother. Most welcome. Same. When I woke up, there was a crowd outside my house making a blank space. Once again, I need a noun here. And disturbing everybody's sleep. Noise, yes, but I have to satisfy the second one also. Loud is an adjective. No, after the article, I can't have an adjective. Promise, promises won't disturb everyone's sleep outside my house. No, that's a positive word, not allowed in that negative context. Nose, how would my nose disturb somebody's sleep? I don't think so. Racket, I don't know. He broke my blank space to stop me from playing. Hold on a sec. Whatever it is, I don't know. But yes, someone can stop you from playing by breaking your racket. Or match or game seems good to us. I agree noise is correct in the first one, but I do agree noise is not correct in the second one. Leaving behind racket, which also means a loud noise and such. So just the second one. That shows elimination, how we can answer by eliminating the options out there. Racket means noise as well. For sure, badminton and such. Thanks everybody. On one hand, he carefully undermines the entire project of biography. Okay, there should be an adjective because we have a noun here. So biography, adjective, that's why we can put the noun after that. While on the other hand, she draws all sorts of conclusions she contends can't be made. Okay, editor biography, I think editor is a noun, so shouldn't be there. Written biography can be correct. Literary can be correct. Literary works is an adjective. Literature itself is a noun, shouldn't be. Professionally is an adverb. Never, never, ever going to be correct. That's noun itself. So I think this or that. Going through the second one. Someone realized he was coasting on bursts of latent talent. He had got the attention of the blank space establishment because of the inventive stretches in his prose. And everybody, I think we know poems and prose. And when you say poem or prose, editor, written, professionally, for sure we are discussing literature there. And either you need a noun, put literature, or you need an adjective, put literary works. Literary, the only, no, Rishabh, Bubbly, and Sakshi. Written biography is all okay, but written establishment because of the prose, novels, the literary one. He realized he was coasting on bursts of talent, not the written one, but the literature one related to that. He got the attention of the literary advancement, the project of literary biography, while objections heartily welcome. Heartily welcome. Sakshi. Written establishment, when you talk about proses and poems, won't be that appropriate. We have a better choice. You can put your words, please. If you spend as much time blank space, uh, just a sec. I remember grammar. Once again, you must have good grammar so that you can eliminate the options as per grammar, noun, pronoun, adjective, and such. We spend our time doing something. I need an ing here for sure. No, no. Three options we have, not five. And when I read the second one, I came across comfort, then what you think you are supposed to be blank space or hustling for ing or ing here. Yes, damn sure I need an ing. So pursue may be contextually correct, but not, wow, chase after. Yep, 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 yep. Dabble, remember dabbler, one who does things for fun, not going deep in that, is to touch something just on the surface repeatedly, but not hard one. Dabble, touch something repeatedly. If you spend as much time dabbling after the truth, we can't dabble after the truth. Contextually wrong. That is grammatically wrong. This is contextually wrong. Either petting. Now, pet is to love your pet by repeatedly touching it. Oh, my dog, cat, and such. When you pat your pet as a noun, your dog, cat, and such, pet animal. Not in the context of truth, we can say patting. For sure, chase after, running after, and something that you must be chasing or hustling for, rushing for is all correct. Chasing. Next. I got two of the questions wrong. I'm not saying I just got two of the questions wrong, but I got two questions wrong. One of these is this, because I didn't read the question properly. Can shout at me or say anything. But yes, with this, I wish to say, I intend to say, please go through the question, the instructions. You may be intelligent. I made a mistake here, but something is asked and you answer something. In which one, Chetan? In the first one, chase after is all correct, brother. Put your words, no problem. We can discuss. In the first one, chase after. You are saying chasing the truth. Which one? The second one or the first one? Please say, we will discuss. We will discuss. Please say. I didn't read the instructions. I came across use of the idiom. Let's do this without reading the instructions. Let me define this. You can put the number, the first or the second one. Cross the bridge when one comes to it. Okay. So you think about the problem or the difficulty when you come to that, not before that. I repeat, when you, okay, we have examinations next month, just putting humor with the immaturity. We'll read next month. Why should I prepare this month for the examinations that are going to be next month? Cross the bridge when you come to it. The first one is grammatically horrible. The way they can cross the bridge when they comes, impossible. They comes, the first one is wrong. The erratic trading in crude oil futures seen this week expanded on Friday as commodity watchers sought to cross the bridge when they, once again you are saying they comes? What nonsense. The first one is wrong, so is the second one. Third one, my interview last week went quite well, but the job means that we will have to move to a new city, so I'm not going to think about it now. I will cross the bridge when I come to it. I'm not going to think about it now. I will think about this when I get the job. Is all correct. So honestly, I clicked this way. First is wrong, second is wrong, only three. Later on, I realized I'm wrong. Why? How? I didn't read the instructions properly. You must not make such mistakes. Every question matters, please. Idiom phrases given following, which uses the given idiom phrase, may not be used correctly. Identify the sentences that use the idiom incorrectly, and I didn't see that. So even though I was correct, I was wrong. Both first and second. I made this mistake again in another one. These are the theme-based questions, pretty good ones. Go and have a look. Chetan, let me show you in between. No problem, brother. I can discuss this in between also. Just a sec. But I can't open a browser. Let me open this. Chase after the truth. Let me use the complete phrase. Chasing after the truth. Yes. Chase after the truth means to actively seek or pursue the truth, often with dedication and persistence. There should be, yes, chasing after the truth, like all hell and you will. Chase after the truth. Quotes. Chase after the truth, like all hell, and you'll free yourself. Chase after the truth, and such. So that should be a correct idiom. That's why we have results, and we can also search the phrase chasing after something. Yes. She was chasing a man. Chetan, thanks for asking. We can discuss. That's my responsibility to discuss everything, not just saying what I read. She was chasing a man. She was chasing after a man. Optional. Can add, can drop. Thank you. If you still have an objection, feel free to say. Okay. Next. So many environmental economists argue grammar will help you here for sure. Check. Along with the tone and the passage. Many environmental economists argue that policy changes must be both timely and scientifically grounded to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. Yep. However, global cooperation often suffers due to the competing national interests and economic disparities. In such situations, expecting immediate consensus will be to float beneath the matter of urgency, thereby the context is weakening the pace of global response. So the tone is negative. We must be picking a negative option here. Thank you so much, Adia, for asking. Nope, Rishabh. We cannot say float beneath the matter of urgency. Floating beneath the matter of urgency. Not that appropriate. Can we have a better choice? Understate, underline, undermine, these are the transitive verbs. They have their objects, not prepositions after them. Underline what? Understate what? Undermine what? So that is grammatically horrible. Understating the emergency could have been correct. Disregard what? The gravity, seriousness of the situation, the urgency of the situation seems good, because if you disregard the gravity of the situation, then you can weaken the response. Rest of those, you reinforce the awareness of urgency. Grammatically correct, but not matching the tone of the passage, because that's a negative tone. However, economic disparities are there, so we can't reinforce the awareness of urgency, and if we do, we won't be able to weaken the pace of global response then. So this is contextually horrible. Reflect what? No, under the weight of diplomacy. Contextually wrong, grammatically wrong. We have a better choice. It disregards the gravity of the situation, the urgency of the situation. So the only option we have and is correct. Next. Many ethical theories revolve around the notion of moral duty, where the value of an action lies not in just consequences but in the principles that guide it. Deontological frameworks, in particular, emphasize becoming on the value of insistence. Just a sec. Becoming what? He became an IAS officer. He became an RBI grade B officer. He became a gentleman, etc. He became angry, whatever. There is nothing like becoming on, becoming the values of and something such. So correction is required. The frameworks emphasize the value of insistence, I think, suggesting that the rightness of an action is intrinsic and not outcome dependent. I'm sorry. This idea challenges these and those. Fine. Extending, once again, is a transitive verb. The date has been extended. They have extended the date. There is nothing like extending over. Grammatically wrong. Relying, in the virtue of. All of us know we rely on something, not rely in. Positioned, fine. Among, and that too the truth. Among is used for more than two. So a plural noun must be here. For the uncountable noun, we can't have among. Say amid, amidst could have been possible. D is wrong, so is E, so is A. Either B is also wrong, relying on. The only option left. Is that contextually correct? That has to be as the left one. They emphasize what? Being centered in the passive voice, centered on the principle of obligation, the value of insistence. Yep, both ways fine. Grammar plays the role a number of times. Next, in many emerging economies, urbanization is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. Okay, placing immense pressure on housing, infra, and transportation. Without long-term planning and adequate policy intervention, cities may find themselves overwhelmed. To ignore these complexities is to collide. What? To ignore these complexities is to collide under the mirror of expansion. Collide seems horrible. We have to ignore complexities. That means the resulting tone is going to be positive. If we collide, I don't think so we are going to have a positive tone, risking severe repercussions. Fine, but collide is not that appropriate. To ignore these growing complexities is to interpret what? Once again, transitive. Interpret what? It doesn't take into, there should be the direct object after that. Grammatically wrong. Misplace what? I misplaced my spectacles. It should have an object. Dropped. Overlook the consequences of rapid development. Could have been possible grammatically. Scatter what? The light is scattering. Scatter behind the lines of structure. Quite awkward. Just one grammatically correct one. Exactly. Overlook, that means ignoring the consequences of rapid development. And if you say that, it matches the upcoming line, risking severe socio-economic consequences, repercussions. Matches the tone and grammar both. Just one option we have. Grammar. There is already evidence that this divestment has changed the public conversation, bringing phrases like stranded assets and unburnable carbon into the lexicon. In most countries, the public appears to be turning against fossil fuels and looking favorably on ambitious plans to stalls. No, 2 plus V1, not 2 plus V1 plus SES. It's to stall the advance of climate change. The first one is wrong. This, which depicts the raid that destroyed the town in the Civil War, has been described as a desolate protest painting and a powerful anti-war statement. Seems good to me. We'll check the others. While he was mainly concerned with the linguistic speech acts, he noted how they can also be non-verbally performed. Considers. How can a finite verb be there in between? Considers. For the finite verb considers, goes, comes, you must have a subject. And you don't have a subject, there is a colon separation in between. So considering should have been possible or anything such, but that is horrible. So C is wrong, so is A. We've got the correct answer, but still let me check D for clarity. For people having good mental health, emotional feedback allows them to flexibly tune the expectations. Sometimes it makes sense to write off an emotion just like noise rather than see it as something that demands a change in their generative model of the work. Other times, sometimes it makes sense, but the other times it make sense is the same as he go to school, which is horrible. For a singular subject, we must have an SES. He goes to school. It makes sense. So D is wrong, so is C, so is A, leaving behind just B, which is correct. First form, first form, first form in the parallel construction. To write off rather than see. Remember this? He would rather, you have rather here, change his job than work under pressure. I would rather die than beg. V1, V1. So it makes sense 2 plus V1 here to write off an emotion just like this rather than C. 2 plus V1 rather than V1. He would rather change because of the model V1, then we have a V1 again. Because of a model, he would rather die. Sorry, my mistake. He would rather die than bag. Got it? Thank you. Next. The development of a new airport on this island will help boost tourism and enhance India's surveillance capabilities over the Arabian Sea and the Pacific Sea. Fine. With the priority of pushing for sustainable hospitality on the island, the new resorts are promoting their willingness to minimize environmental impact. Seems good to me. Inauguration of new airports, expansion of port facilities, and investment in tourism infra projects have. There are three things out there. Don't consider just the inauguration of airports as the main subject and rest of those as the object of the preposition. If you do, you can say inauguration has but. Inauguration of airport makes sense. Inauguration of port facilities makes sense. Inauguration of investment in tourism. Inauguration of investment in tourism. No, there are three different things. Inauguration of airports, expansion of port facilities, and investment in tourism, infra projects. Three things will take have. So that's all fine. They have facilitated easier access to Lakshadweep, and this island is well known for its coral reefs, large this, and protected marine area with a sea turtle sanctuary. Seem all good to me. No objection. All are correct. Next. Economic challenges coupled with limited access to education and healthcare can lead to reduce they can lead to, this too is a preposition here, it leads to not the infinitive marker, they lead to opportunities, reduced opportunities. With a fast pace, hold on, I think you know this, with a fast paced, full-fledged batch lifestyle, the past participle, both wrong. Education is recognized not only as a means to that, and also, but also. Recognizing the pivotal role education plays in shaping the destiny of individuals, government has instituted various financial incentive schemes to encourage the enrollment and successful completion of education by girls. All are horrible, but the last. If you say reducing, that will be an active voice. You are correct. Leads to reducing opportunities, not bad. But it leads to reduced opportunities with limited access to education. Sakshi, we already have limited access to education and healthcare, which results in reduced opportunities. Because you already have that. Sakshi. He was stimulating and challenging to the first class mind, but to the average undergraduate, he was probably an intimidating figure with his caustic and mordant wit. Seems good to me. After years of dreaming, I finally embarked on a once in a lifetime expedition to Antarctica, where I navigated through the icebergs, encountered colonies of penguins, the parallel construction, and hold on, I encountered, I marveled, this is wrong. Retailers like Zara have, because your subject is retailers, international agreements on climate change mitigation have agreements. Retailers, they are the plural subjects. So dropping these three easy peasy ones, leaving the first one the only correct one. Next, I made the mistake once again. You must not let me be the scapegoat. I didn't see the instructions. Adverb, idiom, phrase, okay. Multiple word usage, probably picking or asking the correct usage. I read this. Mr. Trump, I think you know the meaning of conjure up, just like conjuring. You have heard the name. Produce something by magic. Produce something by imagination, by fantasy, anything such. The abstract sense is it doesn't define something in real. Producing something as if by magic. Conjuring. I'm sure you have heard the name. Mr. Trump and his supporters may like to believe that they are victims of electoral swindle. While they are entitled to take their grievances about fraud to appropriate courts, it could not have escaped their attention that a difference, now read this, a difference overall of more than 5 million votes between the two candidates could not only have been made up through deceit. Perfect. Which black magic? Absolutely. Chetan. Yep. It'll depend to a large extent on the nature of vigilance and informed, intense scrutiny the government is made to go through with during its conjuring up. For government, if you say conjuring up, it seems horrible to me. Government is a formal figure. We won't be using, say, conjuring up for the government. In terms of vigilance and scrutiny, no, 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 that shouldn't be the appropriate one. Second is correct, Sakshi. Okay, you are saying incorrect, but the first one is correct. I'm sorry. First one is correct because all these votes, you are saying 5 million votes, there was a difference. We can't just make up. Make up is also the same. False or falsification. Sakshi, have a look. The first one is correct in my opinion. Yours is welcome. Notwithstanding the expected gripes, darkly made up, doomsday apparitions and conspiracy loaded lamentations from some shell shocked quarters, many clear messages have been sent by the people of India. If I say many clear messages have been sent by the people of India, that means notwithstanding, which shows contrast, the expected gripes, not the actual ones, darkly conjured up. Perfect. Darkly conjured up. Doomsday. I'm sure you know the meaning of all these. That means the third one is correct. So is the first one. The second one is horrible. And yes, I didn't read the instructions. The timer was going on. So I clicked the first and third is correct. This one. Got it wrong. You must not do this. Please go through the instructions. Second one, which is inappropriate as per the instructions. Identify that use the idiom incorrectly, not correctly. Doubts, welcome. Next, parajumbles. Since the Irula have been so successful in their homeland at removing pythons, we are hoping they can teach people. They can teach people who? Probably the Irula, the plural noun. Okay. In just 8 days, they've surprised the officials of Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, FWC, by bagging as many as 13 pythons, including 2 Indian snake hunters have been hired by the officials to get rid of. I think it's a descriptive one, putting theme of this python, 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 python. 2 Indian snake hunters have been hired by the Florida wildlife officials to get rid of the pythons, these Burmese, which are wiping out small mammal populations, driving some nearly to extinction in a tropical wetland in the US state. Yep, C seems to me a descriptive one. So let me check the options if I have where C starts only and only in just one. We have 2 options where C is starting. We'll have to check. But common sense, maturity, as per the options, if C is the first one, E is the second one, straight marked by them. Reading E then now. 2 Indian snake hunters have been captured, have been invited, hired by the officials to get rid of all these things. Next, this, the name of that hunter, and this, the name of that hunter, 2, both in their 50s, from the Irula tribe of Tamil Nadu, are successful python hunters. Probably these are hired by the Florida. Were brought in along with 2 translators to work with detection dogs earlier this month to track down and capture the giant snakes. Probably these snakes they are saying. Absolutely, we are correct. C is the first one, E is the second one. Next, in just 8 days, absolutely, they've been hired. In just 8 days, they've surprised the officials by bagging as many 13 pythons, including this or that. Yes, we are talking about them. We are working with the partners since the Irula have been so successful. First, show they are successful. Maybe a possibility they were hired, but they couldn't succeed. Show they are successful, that we are showing here in B. In just 8 days, they've surprised them by bagging 13 pythons, including this and that. Done. C the first one, E the second one as marked by them, and B the next one. They were tasked with this and they did it. C, E, B. Any option? C, E, B. We have done. Saving time is also necessary. Virat Kohli, Sham, hello, you're not live. Will receive Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in India, the government officially announced on Wednesday. In the last 1 year, Kohli has scored a number of runs in 12 tests at an average of 76, including 3 double centuries. He led from the front in the ODIs as well with 924 runs from 13 games at an average of this and a strike rate of this. Kohli had a stellar year both as a batsman and as a captain. He was also instrumental in India's T20 World Cup campaign, where he won the Player of the Tournament award. He led the team to number one test ranking before taking over the reins of Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the limited overs captain as well. That's the additional piece of information. I think A should be the first one, setting the tone of the passage. Virat Kohli will receive Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in India, the government officially announced on Wednesday. And I come here to check the options. Fortunately, I have just one option which starts with A. Camera went off, changing battery in seconds. No problem. So let me change the battery first so that I can show you the correct answer. 5 seconds, please. Yes, it is. Just one option starting with A. Saving time, going ahead. Next, to convey the costs of that conflict, what conflict? A can't be the first one. We don't have an option with A either. Either D or E has to be the first. Okay. American experts recall the grimmest examples of urban destruction in this and that. Imagine evacuating millions of civilians from Seoul and its suburbs under fire. What's happening? For one, that is one of the reasons I think, or the examples, for one example or reason. His regime defines someone, and for one, we'll see that later. For America, China, and other Pacific powers, for America, China, and other Pacific powers, few potential events are as grim to contemplate as a war involving North Korea or that country's violent collapse. Okay? All serious governments think hard about the unthinkable horrors. If you say all serious governments, I think America is one of them, China is one of them, probably Korea. There are reasons why the world doesn't seek to topple North Korea's impetuous young leader, this and that. May I say the first and the foremost link I've got? E, I'm not saying that's the first one, will take B after that. E will take B after that. Because you are saying some reasons here, and for one reason, okay, may I ask here? EB. EB the first one, but C then for America, China, not bad. A then for one, his regime. In C, we don't have anyone. C, E, B, C, you are saying the last statement C. After which we are putting A for one, his regime. There must be a person which is not present in C. I don't think so that should be that appropriate. Just a sec. EC or EB we were picking? EB we were picking. No, 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 no. There are reasons. I'm sorry. I got confused. Just a sec. E and B, if we pick, there are reasons. North Korean leader. Yes, 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 we can say. For one, his regime, this and that and that. Then C, between the two Koreas. For America, China, fine. I can say EB. But Rishabh, after saying EB, no Sakshi. I don't have any link to link now America, China, and other powers to fight with him and such. See, for one, his regime, a Stalinist, I don't know what it is, take on a feudal monarchy funded by mafia-like community around the globe, keeps artillery prices and rocket launchers aimed at the south, booming capital Seoul 35 miles from the border between the two Koreas. For America, China, potential Grims and such, I don't think so that appropriate. Can you see that's the descriptive one? All serious governments think hard. That's what we've been doing throughout the passage, thinking hard on those unthinkable errors. thinking hard on those unthinkable errors. Okay. And when you say all serious governments, I think we can see America, China, and other powers. And now thinking about those unthinkable horrors, North Korea and such, seem appropriate. Let me go through D and C. Any option? We have two options there. Oh my goodness. That is wasting our time, what we saved in the previous one. DC. Just a sec. Now I must go faster. All serious governments think hard about this. For America, China, and other powers, few potential events are as grim as involving him or the collapse. Then B. For one, no, 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 no. E will take B after that. Thank you for this keyword. EB and then D and then C. DCEB somewhere. DCEB. We don't have EB here. DCEB. Answer. And it's correct. It's always better to make parassemble on your own first. With options, sometimes becomes easy. I would say most of the times becomes easy, but yep, a few times it becomes difficult and confusing also. Thank you and sorry. Another easy peasy one. Located in the Colombian River George National Scenic Area, the dam you have defined further. You have defined first was built for two reasons. You have built a dam on a river. Define that first. Okay. Now this river has been domesticated. So you are saying now this river has been domesticated. Can you define anything before that? They have. The first major man-made change to the Colombian River, are you talking about this? Occurred in 1938. First man-made change. Okay. With the completion of the Borivali Dam. Now you can call this Borivali Dam here. I think it will take this after that. The, for humor, dam is actually a series of several dams and links the states of Oregon and Washington. Okay, we have these in Maharashtra. Yep, I know. The Columbia River used to be a wild waterway full of frothing white water and robust salmon populations. That's the beginning, and it used to be in past, but now it has been domesticated, just like animals. We domesticate them and we make them ours, then we exploit them, make use of them and such. And probably that's the first man-made change, the construction of this dam. Then you can talk about the dam. Uh, I think answer should be, let me have the E option also. But I must write down from these. Sorry. Uh, this river used to be this. Now it has been domesticated with a number of things. Let me using a the concept of third world countries has evolved significantly since its origin during the Cold War era, initially used to describe nations that didn't align with either this NATO or the communist bloc. The term today broadly refers to the underdeveloped or developing countries, mostly in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Pacific Islands. These regions are characterized by lower economic performance, limited industrialization, and ongoing socio-economic struggles. Countries across the globe are often categorized based on their economic development. These classifications typically fall into four broad-based groups. At the top are the developed nations like United States, Canada, Japan, and the members of European Union. These countries enjoy high standards of living, stable economies, and advanced technological infra. Following them are the nations with the steadily progressing economies like China, India, Brazil, and Mexico. These economies show consistent growth but still grapple with the internal disparities. The third category includes nations with the inconsistent development records. This group largely comprises parts of Central America, comprises of inactive voice. No problem, that's an RC. Central America, the Caribbean, much of the Arab world, and the African continent. These countries may show progress in some areas, but they face setbacks due to political instability, corruption, or inadequate infra. Finally, there are states suffering from protracted civil conflict, weak governance, or regimes. Somalia, North Korea are the prime examples. These so-called failed states experience severe developmental stagnation or regression. A key determinant in classifying nations economically is the gross national income (GNI) per capita. The World Bank uses this metric to group countries into the lower income, low income, lower middle income, upper middle income, and high income economies. Third world countries, typically fall under the low Okay, third world countries typically fall under the low or the lower middle income categories. In many cases, these nations also lack basic services like healthcare, education, and access to clean water, further hindering their development efforts. The UN identifies a subgroup within developing nations called this LDC, lower division clerk in SSC, no, least developed countries. These countries exhibit the lowest indicators of socio-economic development and include Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Zambia. Factors contributing to the underdevelopment, range from geographical disadvantages such as being landlocked, okay, to historical exploitation and ongoing political unrest. These countries often struggle with the external debt, poor credit ratings, and weak infra. Additionally, being landlocked presents serious constraints for some developing countries. Without direct access to the sea, these nations face higher trade costs and limited integration into the global markets, which can slow economic growth even further. In retrospect, the use of the term third world and its evolution sheds light on how economic and political narratives have shaped global development discourse. It also underscores, just like the previous questions we had, undermines the transitive verbs. It underscores what? The complexity and diversity of development challenges across regions and time. Despite these hurdles, many developing nations are making strides towards progress. With growing economies and improved living standards in some regions, however, global inequality remains a pressing issue demanding continued attention and collaborative action. Okay, grabbing this theme, going ahead. Which of the following is consistent with the author's discussion of the term third world that has been marked in the beginning? The term today strictly refers to nations with communist governments. No, it was probably the communist bloc. It strictly refers to nations. Does it refer to nations strictly with the communist governments? Either this, initially used to describe nations that didn't align with either this or this. I'm sorry, I was reading this communist, but that was initial meaning. Today, the term refers to the underdeveloped or developing countries. No, all developing nations. No, the underdeveloped. Concept has remained consistent. No, it has changed. The evolution reflects changing global political and economic narratives. Yep, it has changed. It's currently used by the United Nations. No, it has changed. Chetan, thank you. Nancy, thank you. Next, which of the following correctly matches a country group with its economic classification and development characteristics as marked in the passage? I know that has to be coming. This low order and middle order batsmen and all, tailenders also. Where is that low, lower, lowest degrees of comparison here? Yes, here it is. Upper middle income countries, Somalia and North Korea, noted for strong economic recovery. I don't think so. Somalia and North Korea were for strong. For the weak governance. Nope, 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 nope. Emerging economies, China, India, Brazil. Emerging economies, China, India. Progressing economies, China, India, Brazil. These emerging economies show consistent growth but still grapple with the internal disparities. They show steady growth, yep, but face internal disparities straight out there. Which of the following can be inferred about the development challenges faced by landlocked countries as discussed in the passage? There are the landlocked countries they've marked, I think somewhere here. I'm sorry. Landlocked here, such as being landlocked. These countries often struggle with the external debt, poor credit ratings, weak infra. Being landlocked presents serious constraints for some countries. Without direct access to the sea, they face higher trade costs and limited integration into the global markets, which can slow the economic growth even further. Okay, they have they have slow economic growth. Being landlocked guarantees underdevelopment regardless of governance quality. Maybe limited access to seaports, they have said. Without direct access to sea, limited access to seaports negatively affects the country's ability to participate in global trade. Yes, of course, limited integration into the global markets. Absolutely. Nikhil. Sakshi, objection, welcome. So, which of the following can be there in A? A is here. Finally, there are states suffering from protracted civil conflict, weak governance, or examples, North Korea. If you talk about North Korea, which of these are you going to take? Liberty, they have freedom, the first elimination. Totalitarian, in the previous class, somebody was asking, and I did say, just one political party is allowed to function. We call that the totalitarian government. Pastoral, nope, it also shows that freedom part. Plutocracy, government by the wealthy, no, we need some dictatorship type. Federal, equal opportunities such, federal governments, no, 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 no. That should be a better one. I forgot the meaning of pastoral, please excuse me. Relates to rural or peaceful countryside life. Completely unrelated. Absolutely. And Shaw, federal, where power is divided between the central and the regional governments. Pastoral, rural and peaceful countryside. Totalitarianism, where is that? Refers to the regimes with absolute state control and no political freedoms. Just one political party is allowed to function. Retrospect. Retro means back. Spect is to see. When you go back and think about your past, we call that retrospect. Ruminate is also the same, thinking about the past. Recollection obviously will be going into the past. Foresight, fore means ahead, forecast, forehead coming first, forearm, foretell, straight answer. Need not check the others. When you say retro, I say fore, all correct. Sakshi will see. In 1 minute, I'll see that for sure. Intro, no, to look inside. Reminiscence, nothing such. Next. What aspect of the Siberian gas pipeline project clearly illustrates the transatlantic tensions between the US and the Western Europe during the early 80s? The US encouraged European nations to diversify their energy supplies by importing Soviet gas. Where is that gas part? Let me check. The Siberian gas pipeline episode is more than a Cold War relic. It offers enduring lessons for contemporary European energy policy, showed strategic value of diversification and interdependence, the risk of over-reliance on a single supplier, and the challenges for maintaining unity in this complex environment. So, what aspect of the gas pipeline project clearly illustrated between the US and the Western Europe? Europe and Western. The crisis prompted deeper reflection on the need for a common European energy strategy, something that continues to evolve today in climate goals like this. Russia war. Moreover, the episode highlighted a paradox that there is something such, just a sec, about the United States they have said. Now it feels totally difficult to watch this panel and just grab the answer. Sorry for the delay caused. I remember somewhere they have said it is like a threat. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. They saw the pipeline not as a commercial venture but as a geopolitical threat. The US imposed sanctions, viewing the pipeline as a geopolitical threat. Straight. US feared that the increasing reliance on this would make it politically pliable, undermining their and giving Moscow the power. To end this, US imposed sanctions. Which of the following best reflects the internal challenges faced by this EEC in forming a cohesive internal policy during the Siberian gas episode? They relied equally. Where is that EEC? Need to check first. EEC here. Despite the strategic potential of the Siberian pipeline, European economy European economic community was riddled with the internal contradictions. Member states pursued divergent energy straits. France leaned on this and that. They relied equally. Nope. They followed the US's lead. Nope. Internal divisions arose as member state pursues different energy sources based on priorities. You can see that. Member states pursued followed divergent energy strategies. As you can see that France on nuclear power, UK on North Sea oil, West Germany on Soviet gas. Diversification, we can say. Internal divisions arose as member states pursued different energy sources based on national priorities. Which is true, Siberian gas pipeline taught Europe the economic cooperation ensures long-term political alignment. I don't think so because there are disparities all across. Europe's Cold War energy experience underscores the need for diversification and strategic caution in current energy planning. Seems good to me. The passage concludes that modern energy issues are unrelated to the Cold War dynamics. Maybe European Economic Community developed a coherent, not at all. The episode highlighted that energy policy is separate from the national security concerns. I don't think so. Just a sec. It has to be checked. Which of the following is true? The Siberian gas pipeline taught Europe that economic cooperation ensures long-term alignment. I don't think so. It remains a powerful case study in how energy policy can both divide and bind, challenge and empower in the face of global political currents. Experience highlights the need for diversification and strategic caution in the planning. Probably yes. Yes. As per the tone. Can't find exact keywords, but the message says B. It ensures long-term alignment. Nobody's aligned. They are asking for something else. They are asking for something else. So we can't see the alignment there and such. Yep. Finishing things off in 3. Western Europe pursued energy cooperation with the Soviet Union despite Cold War tensions due to urgent economic and energy needs. Oh my goodness. Checking this will be horrible. Western Europe. Asserting its sovereignty in United Nations supported the pipeline project. No, they put sanctions on that. Nah, 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 nah. Second one is wrong for sure. UN didn't support that. There was a threat in their opinion and they put sanctions. Resisted US sanctions. UN has sanctions. US didn't support. European nations prioritized national energy strategies over a unified European energy policy. Yep. Those nations, I hope the answer to the previous one, they had their own priorities what to pick. They picking this, they picking that, UK picking this and such. They had their priorities. Yes. So the third one is good. Need to check the first one. The second one is wrong. Western Europe followed energy cooperation with the Soviet Union despite Cold War tensions. I need to check this one, but I think it is correct. Western Europe. I know time is done, but still need to finish. Let me answer with what I remember. One can check. Saving time, please. 1 and 3 I think should be correct, and it is. We'll check, no problem. In the context of today's energy challenges, what's the key takeaway from the Cold War era energy ties between the Europe and the Soviet? In the context of today's, I think that should be the concluding factor here. It proves the long-term economic agreements. No. Suggests modern markets are immune to pressure. Maybe. Shows that sanctions are most effective way. No. Confirms that energy policies from the past are no longer relevant today. Yep. It's a reminder that energy is not just a community but a tool of diplomacy, leverage and strategy. I think it is there. In sum, the history of Europe's engagement with the Soviet Union over energy was shaped by conflicting priorities, security, sovereignty and economic need. So it's not about energy, it's about politics. It's a reminder that energy is not just a commodity but a tool of diplomacy, leverage and strategy. Last 3 keywords there, 3 keywords here. Security, sovereignty and economic need. not as a commodity. And last but not the least, what can be there in this X, Twitter? USSR could be a stabilizing force and should not be sacrificed for American Cold War. I got this wrong also, I remember. You are saying American Cold War blank space. Conflict is there. Isolation should not be an appropriate word. If there is isolation, there will be no war or conflict. Belligerence, when you always want to fight. When it comes to war, I hope we can say belligerence is a good word, not bad. Hawkish, like a hawk, always aggressive. I got this wrong, so I remember this. Aggressive with a double S for sure. Equanimity, your composure. Equal anima, state of mind same, both in bad situations and good situations. This is not the tone of the passage. Reconcile to restore friendly relations. If you talk about war, we can't say conciliation or reconciliation. Vaibhav, I too clicked this, but the passage needed this. The aggressive policies. No, there is no sacrifice out there. Should not be sacrificed, they are saying. Should not be. American Cold War, Vaibhav, aggressive policies it means. When the US thought it's a threat, they put on sanctions and such. So it wasn't fight, but they were aggressive in their policies. Everyone was. UK preferring this, they preferring that, they preferring this. Everyone was there in that. Not enemy, but still putting their aggressive measures for their own benefit. I did click B, but the answer was C, and I agree is appropriate. We are not fighting, no war there, no nuclear weapons, no drones, Vaibhav, but still everyone putting their own preference first. That has been discussed. Had there been a war like we had a couple of days ago, belligerence could have been a correct answer. US didn't change yet. Absolutely. Finishing things off here, thank you so much for being here. But before that, let me show you that we have an offer. With your support, we have completed 25 million active users on Olive Board. I repeat, with your support, we have 25 million users on Olive Board now. In this celebration, as a part of this celebration, we are offering 55% off on all regulatory subscriptions for RBI, NABARD, SEBI and such, with live classes, mocks, notes, test series. Can use the code 25M to grab flat 50% off, 55% off. Have a look before you leave. Thank you so much. See you for the next class. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Muskan. Chetan, thanks a lot. Hey dear. Shikha, Sakshi, Muskan, Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Vedansh, and all of you here. Bye-bye. Take care. Be safe. Thanks, everybody. Bubbly, thanks a lot. No problem, Vaibhav. That was literally amazing. I request you to watch this as you feel, whenever you feel comfortable. Neha, sure. Thank you, Rishabh. Nancy, marvelous. No, Nancy. Raj, thanks a lot. Hey, dear. Thanks a lot, everybody commenting. Thanks a lot, to be honest. See you pretty soon. Thank you.